I will start by saying this is a special meeting of the Larkspur Parks and Recreation Commission on Thursday, July 29th, 2021. And it's on Zoom. And I think that's all I need to say as an introduction. Do I need to say anything more? Allison, or is that sufficient?
Oh, I apologize. That is sufficient. If you'd like, I can begin with the roll call.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Harrison?
Here.
Commissioner Keppel?
Here.
Commissioner Sunshine? Vice Chair Friedel? Chair Blauvelt?
Here.
We have 3 members present.
Okay, we're here to start. Okay. The first thing we need to do is we do the roll call, the public comments. Is there anybody there, Allison, that wants to talk to us?
We don't have any attendees, so no public comment over here, and we can just ask Franklin if he received any emails prior to the meeting to share.
Did you, Franklin?
No, we haven't received any email. So
Okay, great. Then the first thing is approval of the minutes, on approval of the consent calendar, which is I don't know, the purpose of that is, what do we have to do on the, nothing on the consent calendar, right? The approval of the minutes of June 17th. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the minutes of June 17th, 2021.
Okay.
Second that.
Okay, second that, and the rest of us approve it, me. Okay. Approval of the minutes of July 15th. Is there a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting from July 15th.
Okay, 2021. Okay, great. Is there a second?
I would be willing to second that, but as I wasn't in attendance, I would feel that I would be voting on something that I did not attend. So,
Well, I think I can second, can't I? Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, I will second it. And the 3 of us can still vote, correct? Yes.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. There's no public hearing. Business item is what we've been trying to get to. And Rita's on board here to talk to us about Dolliver Park upgrades. Okay, Rita, you're on.
Okay, I am going to. Sorry, I'm trying to share my meeting. Oh, here we go. There we go. All right. Okay. We all see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
yes.
Great, thank you. So first of all, thank you for attending this special meeting. I really appreciate it. It's just without you being able to present this to the board, I was sort of at a stopping point, and since we didn't have a meeting in August, it was going to become just a really long time before we could get to this. So I really appreciate you all being here tonight. So what I wanted to discuss is today is basically it's a modification of the existing playground at Dolliver Park, and the proposal is to create a tot play zone. So just a little bit of background. Back in 2015, this playground was upgraded, and the way that it was upgraded, you can see on this exhibit. There was a playground consultant that came in. This was just around the time I had started, so I really wasn't involved in this project at this point. But a playground consultant came in, or I should say an equipment rep came in. And so basically he just took what was existing. Basically there was a play structure, there was a metal climber, there was a spinner, and then 2 swing sets. And so they just basically just proposed a like for like, something new for something old, without really sort of a comprehensive look at what was in the playground. So as you can see, out of the 5 pieces of play equipment, there's only 4 of them are for children, are designed for children 5 years to 12 years old, really above the age of 5. And only 1 of them is for children under 5. So that would be the tot swings. So what happened was that a couple of months ago, a citizen sent me an email, basically like a 3-sentence email. And he said, hi, I've recently moved, my family and I have been using Dolliver Park a lot. And we noticed that there's nothing really for kids, younger kids to play with. And if you're open and interested, I'd like to donate a play structure. I said, oh, okay. So went and met with him and we chatted and just started talking and looking at the area. And so, based on what I was seeing, I could see there was an opportunity to create a smaller play area for smaller kids within the footprint of the existing playground. So working with this donor in the last couple months, started talking to him a little bit about his budget and what sort of style he had in mind. And we came up with a preliminary design that I'll show you in a later slide. But that was the genesis of this program. So one of the things, so when he says there's really nothing for younger kids to play with, I've been out there now to that playground probably maybe 5 or 6 times since I've started chatting with him. And every single time I go there, this is what I see. So for instance, you can see over here, there's a caretaker here playing on the one piece of equipment that is only for 2 to 5 year olds, and that's the tot swing. So most of, the ones, those of you that have kids or have nieces or nephews or whatever, a small kid cannot get into that swing by themselves. And once they're in there, they cannot swing by them. They can't propel themselves. It requires adult intervention. Here's another day that I was there. There was a grandpa there, helping his little granddaughter. Basically, she needed help on everything. And the idea of like having to hover there as a parent or a caretaker. This picture here is it's laughable. I mean, here's the caretaker on this ground spinner. I don't know if you've seen this, but this thing actually rotates, and it rotates pretty quickly. And it's an awesome piece of equipment for older children. For a young kid, it's just not suitable at all.
Terrifying.
It is terrifying. And then this one, and then this, and then the last time I was there last week, this is what I saw. Sorry, I'm trying to move forward on this. Okay, and so this was a young couple with a little guy. I think they said he was 16 months old. So obviously, he cannot make it up these steps themselves. He kept flopping over. And then, and then this part here, how many parents does it take to help, for a kid to slide down the slide, In this case, you can imagine, I mean, they're trying to let him down gently and, they don't want him to go too fast. So this is kind of, this is the situation we're dealing with here. Okay, so what's missing? So what's missing is independent play opportunities for kids. The idea with playgrounds and just playing and play in general is, kids need risk taking. They need to do risk taking so they can build confidence. They can experiment. There's that fun factor, that fear factor that they need to start feeling, and that's what helps them, learn new skills. The other thing about playgrounds, it's a place where other children gather, and so there's opportunities for social play, dramatic play. And when you're in a playground that's too big for you, these little kids are, always have to have parents with them. So really what we want is, what's missing is play equipment that's scaled for smaller bodies, kids whose cognitive abilities aren't fully developed yet. And as we've seen from these pictures, when there's not an alternative, caretakers will let, preschoolers on equipment that's just too big. So all that having been said, there is a hiccup. And in order to make this project possible, I am proposing that we remove one piece of equipment, and that's this metal climber. Why am I proposing that? Okay, so, and I'm sorry, there's a lot of information I'm trying to, it's pretty simple, but I'm just trying to provide a lot of information here. So this is the layout of Dolliver Park. Just to orient you, this is where the restroom is. So Magnolia is over, Magnolia is over here, and Madrone is up here, and you're heading into the Baltimore Canyon up in this area. So that metal climber that I just showed you the picture of, that's right here. These are all existing. The tot swings are here. The big kids swings are here. That's the ground spinner is here, and the large play structure is there. So, sorry, the circle, I realize the circle's in the wrong spot, but if we remove, so by removing this metal climber, I'm going to move over here now. In its place, I'm proposing that we add a new play structure. In between the new play structure and the existing tot swings, there's an empty space that can be used to add additional little elements. And so then this whole area becomes the tot zone. This will remain completely unchanged. We'll still have the big kid swings, we'll still have the super spinner, and we'll still have that large play structure. But you can see, now we go from having, just the playground the way it is into two distinct zones. So why do I feel okay? If I could, I would like to leave the climber. I would relocate it to a different area in Dolliver. It's just where it is. It doesn't allow for that tot zone to be created. And so my recommendation is that we remove the metal climber and actually relocate it to another park. I'm kind of thinking maybe Greenbrae School Park right now is where I'm thinking. But why?
I didn't hear what you said. Which park are you thinking of moving?
I'm kind of thinking maybe Greenbrae School Park.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And the reason I'm okay with removing it at Dolliver is because it's kind of an old-fashioned piece of equipment that was, like I said, when the park was remodeled in 2015, there just happened to be a metal climber, and they just swapped it with a new metal climber. So what the metal climber, so here are the skills really that metal climber is trying to target. So upper body strength, hand-eye coordination, climbing ability, and balance. So if you look over to the existing big play structure, these things are actually, these skills are actually available for kids to practice. So the upper body and hand-eye coordination, you can see this, this is a connecting piece between a lower deck and an upper deck. It can be used, so it's like they call it a hula hoop climber. So kids can go through it, through the hoops, or they can also, like this little boy here is doing, they can also go underneath it and use it very similarly to this, to the rungs on this ladder. And then over here, we've got lots of different ladders here. There's 3 different types of ladders. There's it's a twisted wire, a twisted ladder. This one's more like little steps. And then this one is more like a rung ladder. So as you can see, there are, this metal climber has duplicative features as the play structure. So that's why I feel okay about removing it. So what's the new plan? The new plan is here. So in that tot zone, so this would be the area that was, this would be the spot where the metal climber is currently. The idea would be to add a new play structure here. And then in between, oh, you know what, I realized the swings are over here. I'm sorry, I should have had a picture of the swings just so you could orient yourself, but the swings are here. And then between the swings and where the new structure is, we could have different smaller pieces. So something like a peekaboo log, or maybe a little playhouse, some balancing steps, some play panels. So these are all very ground-based, for little kids. The structure will allow them to go up and down. This structure actually has two slides, one on this side and one on the other that you can't see. Oh, actually, you can see it from the top view. So here's the single slide, here's the double slide, here's a climbing net. Little hammock. There's a little way over here. You can see it on the other side. There's a little storefront panel so they can play, house or store or whatever. And so there's a lot of, both things to do up on the deck, but also things to do down below. Oh yeah. So anyway, so those are the pieces of play equipment that I'm proposing for that play zone. Another thing that would be required is that we'd need some modifications to the fence. So right now there's a split rail fence. Here's the playground over here, and here's Madrone Avenue here. So I'm just approaching this with a relatively low cost way to upgrade this fence. And basically, all it is you can see these are I think they call it cattle wire. It's a thick gauge steel wire, and it's fastened to the inside of the split rail. And that would be on the existing portion of, just along the sidewalk here. And then in the interior would be something more like this. So this would be along here would be where the split rail fence is, and then along here would be where this new fence is. And because we're now creating a smaller, a play area for younger children, and it's going to be identified as such, it's good practice to just from a safety aspect to have that area now be enclosed, because we've got a busy street here on Madrone, we've got a creek on this side. And really, as parents or caretakers, it's nice to just be able to come inside to this play area and let your kid now, play independently, because now there's lots of things for them to do. And you don't have to, just be like completely, eagle eye, making sure that the kid doesn't run off and wander off into either the street, the creek, or wherever. So it's just it allows parents to relax and becomes like a nice gathering place. We also put in some benches along here. So it just creates like a nice, it's just like this gathering and social and gathering place now for young families, which is So that is my presentation. So next steps, assuming that I have your approval tonight, I am ready to launch the public or start the public outreach portion. I've got my online survey ready to go. I'll be posting signs at Dolliver, at least 3 or 4 signs in different parts of the park. And then also have the mailing list for the rec department's summer school mailing list. And so they would be getting an email invite to also participate in the survey. I plan to have the survey on for about 3 to 4 weeks. And then once the survey is closed, we'll take the feedback from what people have to say and put that into the final playground design, and then come back at the September 16th meeting to present the findings from the survey, and then have a draft design for you to review. And if that goes well, then at that point, I would be wanting to solicit contractors, get quotes from contractors, and then maybe by winter or spring of next year, the project can get started. And it would probably be about a 3-week project, something like that, 3 or 4 weeks. So that is that.
Sandy, just a
Yeah.
heads up too, that we now have a member of the public with us. So I don't know if you want to open it up for public comment.
Of course. Yes. Please,
Should I stop sharing the screen?
pardon me?
No, I think you can keep it up, Rita. So
Okay.
Okay, and our first public comment will come from caller ending 1402.
Okay, we're anxious to hear from you. Please say. State your name.
Hi, James Holmes, Larkspur Canyon resident. I appreciate the presentation. I wanted to ask a question and then maybe make some comments. Will there be a gate? Will the enclosure have a gate? Will it be enclosed with a gate, or will it be open?
Yes, it will have a gate. Hold on, let me go back.
Okay. Well, I won't.
They'll
That's
actually-
I understand why you'd want a gate, but on the other hand, that gate could be a real maintenance issue. I mean, people are going to swing on it. They're going to, pinch their fingers in it. They're going to slam it. They're going to leave it open. So I don't know if there are similar gates elsewhere in the park, or I mean, not that park, but elsewhere in other parks. But on the one hand, yeah, you kind of have to have a gate, but on the other hand, that gate is going to be a real maintenance issue. So I point that out as something to consider. Of course, the most unfortunate aspect of this, of course, is having to segment the park. And so I think there needs to be particular concern for the aesthetics of the interior fencing. What I looked at in the drawing kind of looked like almost prison-like. And I wonder if it wouldn't be possible to have perhaps something that is lighter, kind of a lighter version of the split rail fence, maybe similar to the wooden rail on the stairs going up opposite the on the other side of the park. Not the metal rail, but there's some stairs and a kind of a wooden rail. And then you'd have the wire in there, and I think the wire could be as light as practical, because it should be black so that it doesn't show. I'd hope that there's concern for keeping the colors. Generally a muted earth tone consistent with the aesthetics of the park. And it looked okay. All of them looked okay except the playhouse roof, and a couple of other items. I don't think the playhouse. I like the idea of the playhouse, but I have to point out that way back in the 80s, there used to be a magnificent playhouse, treehouse, and allegedly somebody was molested in it, and they took it down. So, I mean, at a minimum, that playhouse would have to be open, pretty much open on all sides, so that there couldn't be mischief there. Maybe not even by toddlers, but by others, because it presents that possibility. And then I would ask that the survey not be exclusively on the internet, because I think that even people who don't have the internet should be able to should be able to have input. And the other thing I pointed out, I note, in the drawing, it showed little mushroom-shaped things. I can't remember what they were called, but they seemed awfully close together. And I got the impression that it would be the kind of thing where kids could fall off them and bump their heads and so on. So there might be a potential spacing issue there. So thank you for considering these points, but in particular, the aesthetics of the fence and the practicalities of the gate. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Always good to hear from you. And I'm sure that Rita's taking all of your comments into consideration here. Okay. Thank you. Shall we just move on, Rita, or do you want at this point questions from the other commissioners, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it's it's question and answer time. So
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions?
I do.
Good.
I think that James has a good point about the fencing. I'd hate for it to feel like the kids are caged in there. I understand the need for safety, but if we can somehow reduce the cage-like feeling in there, it is a pretty big area, as I recall. But somehow minimizing that fencing on the interior. I can see the need for having the wire on the existing fence along the road there, Madrone Avenue. But I think that we should maybe consider other alternatives for the interior fencing. And then I think that James also makes a good point. This is the Tolliver or Dark Park, as a lot of people call it. There's plenty of shade there, and so I'm questioning the need to have something with the roof. Maybe it might be nicer to have it more open aired. And I don't know how. And I guess my other question is, what else did you consider in terms of replacement play structures for the Todd area?
okay, I'll answer the last question first. So these are, none of this is set in stone. These are just some examples of what is available. In the survey, I do have another model that is available. The thing is, it's a small area, where that place where the metal climber is. And so a little bit limited in terms of lots of options because it is a small area. But this is one of them. It is available without the roof. You can't really tell just from this rendering, but this is a very small structure. Like the scale of it is small. Like it would be like a person, like an adult, like their waist would be above where the little the sides are. So there wouldn't be and it's narrow as well. It's really geared for children under 5. So, if you've ever imagined, like, if you went into a preschool and you sat on one of those little chairs, an adult would just be massive in there. So it's not really, it wouldn't be easy for an adult to get up in there. So there wouldn't be an issue with them hiding. Same with that little log and anything here. It's really scaled for young, small children. So I don't think that there's any really any concern, I would say, about an adult lurking in there. The colors are, these are renderings. This is not real life. It's going to look brighter than it is in real life. And this is wood, so it would fade once it's out there for a little bit, including the wood. This wood right now looks very yellow, but it would fade out to more of a grayish, and and it would be in fitting with the woodland setting of Dolliver. These are also just examples. I I didn't happen to have pictures, and all of the different types of panels, but I would be leaning more towards a sort of a gray color as opposed to a bright neon green. What was the other question? Oh, about the fencing. So I guess, again, this is a brand new fence. It's very yellow. The wood is very yellow, but imagine, it would be made of redwood. So within a year or two, it would start to gray out. And I think it would blend in pretty well. I actually felt like this was a very transparent fence. Anything when you start getting into wood rails, I feel like it's almost going to stick out a lot more. So yeah, let's maybe have a little more. What is, I guess I would want to have a little more discussion about why we felt that a fence like this would not be desirable.
Well, I just think that, just making sure that it didn't feel as though the kids were sort of caged in there, with these big tall fences and
well, it would be 4 feet or it would be 4 feet, which is the safety requirement needed for, we really couldn't really do this play zone without a fence. It's because now we're saying this is a playground that we're welcoming, young children in, and you've got a busy street on one side, you've got a creek on the other side. It just would be, talk about safety issues. This would be a safety issue, not to have a fence. It would be a non-starter. Just the liability, to not have fencing would be an issue.
And excuse me, but you say that's going to be redwood, so that'll gray out in a year or so,
Yeah,
right?
and you can look at this fence back here. That's probably red as well.
Okay,
So
got it.
like that. I don't know. It feels to me like it would kind of blend in. I think from a parent standpoint, pretty much any 2 to 5 year old playground that's, in a busy area, there is going to be like we talked about a perimeter fence for Niven Park. It's the same idea. It's the idea that, when you've got a playground for younger children, as a parent, you want to be able to just know that once your kid's in there, you go into the gate and you're inside of it, that, you can relax a little bit. You don't have to be completely hovering each time. And it creates a better play experience for everybody.
I have a couple of questions, Madam
Sure.
Chair.
Yes.
On the fence, one thing that concerns me is if I'm a parent and I have children that are, toddlers, and then I have children that are older, and I want to make sure that I'm available to, all my kids, that fence makes it more difficult for me to be able to see the kids that are older playing on the other play equipment. And I'm really actually concerned about how that would work functionally. So, because you're separating now the tot lot from the older play area, right?
Yes.
So that would make it challenging as a parent to be in both locations without having to go out the gate and come back around if something happened with one of my other children on one of the other play pieces. And so is there any thought to expanding the boundary all the way? So if the concern is the creek, running the fencing so that it encompasses the entire park, but protects you from the creek?
Well, now we're getting into, yes, of course we could do that. Now we're getting into a budgetary thing.
Yeah.
This is a private donation. This is somebody coming forward, and and so he has agreed. Part of it is the fence, and we're talking a perimeter fence. That would be, it would probably cost $100,000 with, to get it that large. Cause I mean, we're talking about, it's gonna be 4 or 5 times as big as what I'm proposing.
Is there a way to have multiple gates?
Well, yes, so there would be one gate here. There's a concrete ramp that comes from the restroom to this play area. So there would be a gate here, and then the other gate would be here. And then the larger play structure is kind of down in this area. Are you able to see this? Hold on.
No, we can't see your cursor, Rita. So
No, I just realized. Okay. All right. So one gate would be right here. So here's the restrooms. There's a concrete ramp that leads up
I don't see that.
to the existing metal structure. So the gate would be here, and then the other gate would be over here. So the idea would, you could, go, the larger play structure would be down in this area.
I see.
Yeah, it's just something, it's something that it might be worth thinking a little bit about, because you do have parents who have kids that, would be interested in, both areas, little ones and then slightly older ones. And then you're not talking, I'm assuming you don't have an issue with the play surface?
We would just use the same surface that's out there, which is the engineered wood fiber.
And the very generous donor is paying for everything?
Yes.
Because one of the concerns that I have, as you know, is I'm concerned that Niven continues to kind of sit out there, kind of in the wings, hopefully someday going to get some attention. And I'm protective and hopeful that Niven would get some attention soon. But obviously, when you get money from somebody, you want to be able to utilize it and get the project completed.
Yeah. So let me just address Niven real quick since you asked about it. So it's still an active project. I was ready to go. I had the neighborhood meeting and I was ready to go, and then it just got shut down when COVID hit, and so it just kind of got put on ice. And earlier this year, like February or so, got the green light to go ahead and start the projects again. And so I started with Piper Park and got that finished up. And then in the meantime, working with Niven. And so now the landscape architect that I was working with at the beginning of last year, they've had staffing issues as well. And so it's just taking a while to sort of get that back into gear. But I am in regular communication with her, especially this month, because I'm working with her on Hamilton Park as well. And so there's just a lot of park projects going on, but hasn't been forgotten. I'm hoping that sometime in August, I'll be able to come back around and say, okay, now we have this is the preliminary plan for Niven. So it's just right there. And I know it feels like nothing's been happening, but there have been things behind the scenes that have been happening.
No, the good news obviously is that there are some, people in our community that are interested in, spending some money to help the city upgrade the parks. And that is really, really wonderful. And I also understand that all of a sudden taking on unexpected projects is a heck of a workload. And that's the only reason why I, keep kind of going back to Niven.
Right.
But, it's just a lot more work for you.
No. And it's not even that. I mean, it's just, I wish this was all I did was just parks. But unfortunately, at Public Works, I have other, unfortunately, there's other things that I task. But so, trying to juggle too many parks at once, it's not a good idea, because I things to slip through the cracks. So, like I said, I've, finished Piper Park, or actually I finished one phase of Piper Park, and then, Hamilton Park has come up, and that's an active project. That's the one with the other donor.
Yeah.
Came up as well. And so just so you understand the scale we're talking about, both the Hamilton and this one here, Dolliver, the private donation is in the $100,000 range. Yeah. So, those are funds that would benefit the city, and I don't want that to get away. by, by saying, oh yeah, that'd be great, but I've got Niven Park that I need to finish first. So that's been the holdup with that, and I do apologize, but that Measure A money will still be there when I'm ready to use it, whereas private funding may not.
True.
Well, maybe we can get some funding from, for Niven.
Maybe. So, okay, well, I will rethink the fence.
I have one more follow-up question. I take it you envision caretakers, parents, to be entering into that tot zone to be close at hand with with children. Is there room in there for putting a bench?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's big enough for maybe along the fence line somewhere.
Yeah, well, right here would be a
Having a
bench.
spot you could have a couple places to sit for.
Yeah. I mean, I think speaking to the thing about, having multiple kids, I mean, if you have a young child and you have say a child that's, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 that wants to play outside. I mean, as a parent, you could, I mean, there is the nice thing about having a fence is that you could put your young child in here and then be outside to help the other child, and not and so you wouldn't have to worry. You wouldn't then have to keep track of 2 children. You know what I'm saying? So there is that part of it. And, parents make these, in some ways I feel like, I mean, I'm just speaking for myself when I was a young mother with 2 children, and I did have, kids that were 4 years apart. And so, I was probably facing that same thing that Vicki is discussing, but you just figure out a way. It does work. I mean, it doesn't become like, oh, what do I do? It does work. And if I did have to, attend to my older daughter, I would have loved to be able to just pick up my younger one and put her in an area that I know is enclosed and safe, and not then, like I said, not worry about now having to keep track of 2 children in an area with a busy street. And again, if we're going to do this, I have to put a fence. I mean, I'm a certified playground safety inspector, and that's one of the big things. If you're next to a busy street, or I mean, the good thing, this creek isn't like a rushing creek, most of the year. But if you're next to a busy street, and Madrone is a busier street, a fence is pretty important.
Are you able to do kind of those cattle gates? Do you know what I mean?
Are you talking about the gate now?
I'm talking about, instead of actually having a gate that physically closes and latches, do you know how they have those gates in corrals and things like that? Because, the cattle don't know how to make the little kind of S turn. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're trying to keep children from slipping out.
Okay.
You're not going to have a gate that latches. There's no point in it. It's just an open. It's just it's just open.
Children aren't cattle, I guess is what you're saying.
I guess not. They're smart enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Any other questions at this point? What would you like from us?
Well, I guess what I would like to hear is whether or not there's a, what's the temperature? I mean, are we feeling like this is a proposal that you'd like to have developed further? Would you like to hear public feedback on it? Well, I mean, not would you, but are you ready to hear public feedback on it? Is there anything specific? I mean, I have an idea of what I'm putting on the survey, but are there any specific things? Like maybe I'll address the thing about the fence, go into the fence a little bit more, because that seems to be the thing that's sort of the stumbling block here.
So, okay, commissioners, what do you want to see? She's suggesting that if you put back not the safety measures, but what you were saying you're going to do next. Um,
Well, I mean, I'd say just in general, I think this is a great
There you go.
opportunity for us
Yeah.
to upgrade this park. It's very commendable that this neighbor community member is willing to put up the funds, and so I think that we should flesh this out and see if this can really happen.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back to this slide. I mean, this is what we're dealing with, you know.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
show, that there is, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard for young families, and we're getting a lot of young families moving in.
Right.
You know, if a parent, you know, if a set of parents are needed to help a kid go down the slide, we know that there's a void.
Good. Does somebody want to make some sort of comment or you want an actual vote, right?
Yeah, I think I would like, what I'm asking for is a recommendation that I go to the
Next
next,
step. Okay.
you know, it would be.
Yes. Does anybody want to suggest, make that motion that you take the next step and go with this idea?
Yeah,
Mike?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Mike? You want to second it?
Are you going to make the motion, or was that the motion?
Well, I will be looking for a little direction, but the way I would probably state the motion would be that I make a motion that Rita, you continue to pursue the planning process of adding kind of a tot lot to Dolliver Park.
I can second that motion.
Okay, are we all in agreement then?
I can do a quick roll call vote if you,
All right, okay, please do.
Commissioner Harrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Keppel,
Aye.
Chair Blauvelt.
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you.
And if I could just add one small thing, if you can convey, I don't want to speak on behalf of the commission, but if we can convey our appreciation to the
Perfect.
person looking to make this donation, that we very much appreciate the opportunity to move for us to be able to make these improvements to Dolliver Park.
Absolutely, please do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Rita, I think you've done a great job here, and I think we're set.
Okay.
Are we? Okay,
Or
we'll
sentiment.
talk to you in the next
That
step.
looks good.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Proud of your work. Thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. Okay, so next, staff report. Aha, Franklin.
Okay, so what's going on in recreation is we're starting to bring back some staff. So we've hired a part-time person to help Nick out. And then today the recruitment opened up for the community service assistant, which is a full-time position that will work between both divisions, recreation and the library. So that is opened up for recruitment. Kinder camp is starting next week. So that's going, it's at basic elementary. So that'll be happening the next week. But that's pretty much it for right now. So we don't have a lot of other stuff going on, but we're starting to get some staffing back in recreation so we can prepare for the fall and fall programming. So, and that will really help Nick out, because I know the summer school and kinder camp have been taking up a lot of his time. But we're slowly starting to staff back up. So that's pretty much it for right now.
So this person, may I ask a question though about that? So this person will be added to the staff is both working for the library and for recreation, is that correct?
Yeah, it was a position that was frozen at the library's position. In the library, it's been taken out and put so it'll work both places. So because there's times where it's really busy in recreation that they'll need somebody, and then the other times they would just be at the library helping out. So it's a staff member that will work between both departments. So
Okay. Anybody have any questions for him?
I just have a quick question. The kids out on the kayaks on the creek, is that part of
this was a summer camp that had gone rogue, and we didn't realize it was a summer camp. So we have talked to them, And we've gotten after them because we had gotten some complaints that they were doing naughty stuff because they were not going to the restrooms where they were supposed to.
Ah,
So Nick did talk to them, and so they were moving over to Piper Park because they had originally just asked to launch their kayaks from the Bon Air Park. And then we discovered that they were actually there more than they should have been. So Nick's already got in after them. And so hopefully they're not over there anymore. So, but if you do see them, Vicky, let us know. So
no, they're launching off of Piper. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, the kids are out there on the kayaks, they're on the creek, they look like they're having a great time. And I just didn't know if it was, one of our programs or
no, it was somebody had originally just asked us to do it one time, and then we discovered it turned into a camp, and so
Okay.
they didn't have permission, and so they were doing this from Bon Air Park, and
Yeah.
so we had them moved over to Piper Park so we could actually have them permitted correctly and get after them about using the bushes. So
yeah, that's not a good thing, but they
Yeah.
are having fun.
yeah, they're having lots of fun. But yeah, I was like, oh, I thought, are they still over at Bon Air? But yeah,
No.
Nick had to go after them about being over at Bon Air Park. So.
No.
Great. Okay, other questions for Franklin? No, hard work you do.
Thanks.
It's very hard. So next is PowerPoint presentation. What's that?
No, it's commissioners' reports.
Oh, mine says,
You're going backwards.
okay. Okay, oh, yes, I am. Right. Okay, commissioners report. Anybody have a report of any sort? No?
No.
No, okay. I probably do, but I think I'll just save it for now. And how about adjourning the meeting? Does somebody want to do that?
I can make a motion to adjourn the
Okay.
Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Mike, for being here, and for giving us a quorum. And Vicky, will you?
I will
second?
second the adjournment.
Okay, great. And so the three of us will say aye, and that'll be it for tonight. When do we come back now, Franklin?
Huh?
When do we come back?
I'm still not 100% sure because I think we're still having the debates if we're going to go back in September or not. So it's something that we're still talking about because we were
In August, right?
no, we're not in August. So in September is our next meeting. So August, you guys are all on break like normal. So
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Okay, we'll find out later. All right, thank you, everybody.
Yep.
And Rita,
Thanks a
thank you
lot.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.